Okay, so welcome back to the Fantom Podcast. We are now episode 26, and joining with me today is my co-host, as always, Joe. Welcome back.
Hey guys, thanks. You're welcome. I'm
And
back again.
recently got back from the Arnold Classic, and we bumped into an old friend of mine. This guy needs no introduction. He is the 2003 Night of the Champions winner, 2007 Arnold Classic. We have the Dominica Dominator, Victor Martinez. Welcome in the house.
What's up, everyone? What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yes, good to have you on. We appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll have some good conversations. So, how was it coming back from the Arnold Classics? Do you have a good weekend?
It was good. It was good. Don't want to leave. Always good to see Arnold and all the festivities going on. I mean, I think it was almost back to normal, except the expo. People are asking me, how is the expo? I'm like, it was okay, but I would like to see more of the pros on the stands. It's just one of those things that was a plus going to the Arnold or even the Olympia. A lot of these companies are cutting corners and they're hiring people you don't know. I mean, whatever. They might have a lot of followers or anything, but guess what? They're just not part of the industry. It's not people you really, I don't know. I got used to seeing the pros, you stop by one booth, you chop it up a little, go to another booth, but we didn't get that anymore, except from seeing Branch, I believe, in one of them, and Johnny Jackson, and I think Regan, Jay. I mean, it was basically a handful of guys.
Yeah, I saw them, and I saw Derek Lunsford, and that's the only.
Derek, yeah.
That's five bodybuilders in such a big expo.
Yeah, that's about it. But I guess they don't want to pay the pro fees anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I've not been to the Arnold since 2011, and when I walked around, because you can normally gauge by how busy it is by the outside the expo and the hotels, but it just seemed really quiet. And when I walked in, I thought, this is like really empty. Well, not empty, but it was very quiet compared to 10 years ago, even like a few years before that. Was you at the Olympia, Victor?
Yeah. Went to the Olympia.
The Olympia Expo was really busy, I thought. Well, that was
it was busy. Yeah, it was busy. Again, it was just different in a different hotel, and it was cold as hell.
Yeah, it was cold. It was weird being in Vegas.
You brought that fucking flu back with you. That's what you did, so.
Did you get that flu as well, Victor? The Vegas flu?
I don't. What is that, man? Flu, man. I never. I know flu shot. I get everything else.
Yeah, so to the audience, I bumped into you in the lift, and I tried to go down. It was going up for some reason, and then I saw you in the meet and greet.
Yes.
And I sort of reminded you that we first met in 2002. Actually, it was New Year's. I came to New York with Dorian to party, and you showed us around the famous Sound Factory nightclub.
Man. Those are the days. For some reason, me and everybody in the bodybuilding industry, when we get to these podcasts and we talk about way back, Sound Factory finds its way into the conversation.
Well, let's get it out of the way. I mean, I wish I would have had. Well, I wish I would have had a camera phone back then, because I've got no pictures from that holiday, that trip.
It's all good, man. It's all good. That's why you have to keep it up here,
Probably a good thing.
No evidence, right? No evidence.
Tell the audience what that club was about. What it was like back in the day.
It was basically our version of every generation has their clubs they get to talk about. I think back in the 70s, 80s, it was Studio 54. And then you go into the 90s, you go into Webster Hall, Limelight, the Tunnel. And Sound Factory was around our time because it was basically a different kind of club. People were working out a little bit more, not like now because of social media, but people working out just for themselves, where right now a lot of people work out to be looked at in social media. So if you worked out back then for yourself and you went to Sound Factory, you can actually go in. If you didn't take care of yourself or look good in any way, shape, or form, you were not allowed into the club.
I remember it was just full of bodybuilders in there, like with the tops off.
Bodybuilders are just good-looking people, you know.
Yeah.
You had to be one or the other. And,
Yeah.
I wasn't so good-looking.
It was just a crazy. I just remember being in there, and it felt like I was in there for like 2 or 3 days because we were just there for like it just seemed forever, and it was on different floors, wasn't it? If I remember.
A different floor, a different vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you really got into got into a nice click, you got caught in a loop that yes, it felt like you were there for days on end.
Yeah, I think when I went, it was you, King Kamali, Dorian, and there was someone else. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, it was a good crowd. It was a good crowd.
Yeah, it was a good crowd. And again, a lot of those stories stayed in there.
Yeah, for the best.
Version of whatever happened in Sound Factory stays in there.
So how long was you going there for, Victor?
I will mostly go in between shows, and definitely right after a show, because obviously, if you were going there during show prep, you were most likely going to lose the show. So when it came down to actually getting ready, it was one of those things. You just went after it was done.
Yeah, bit of a treat.
You hung out with your friends. You hung out with people you knew, and if you got drunk enough, you actually stripped down and you posed for everybody. At the wee hours of 6, 7 in the morning, and that's when you put everybody into like a shock therapy of like, what the hell am I looking at? Because now you're even more dehydrated than where you were at the show, and you're posing under strobe lights, and people got a kick out of that.
Did you ever pose yourself in there?
Yeah, that's how I met my training partner. Because I had done a show. If I could remember, I had done the Metropolitan show. I had just won, and I said, let me treat myself out and go out to the club, and went out there, and they will put they will stop the strobe light, and they'll have just one beam of light going down. All of them different colors, and I got under the green one, obviously, and it made you look
like the Hulk,
green like the Hulk, but I would do it differently, because I would just kind of walk around, and there'll just be people sitting on the stairs, staring blank, because they're tripping their asses off. So as they're looking at the people dancing on the dance floor, when there was nobody dancing, I would just kind of randomly look up and go into this act of like, I just happen to see this light, and I know they're there, but I'm acting like they're not. And all of a sudden, they just start stripping and posing for them, and they'll be like, what the fuck? And then that's where he came down, and he's like, dude, what do you do to yourself? I'm like, I just got off the show. He goes, man, show me how to do that. And then we just started working out together.
Do you still train that guy now? Or was it like many years ago?
No, I still see him. We still train whenever we catch up,
Yeah, because Dorian introduced me to that club. So probably you introduced him to that club. So how did you meet Dorian? I mean, obviously it was at the end of his bodybuilding career.
No, I mean, I met Dorian when he was guest posing a lot in New York. Steve will bring him out.
Yes.
Steve will definitely bring him out. I think I have an old picture where he signed for me, and I remember that was before his black and white pictures showed up.
Okay. So early 90s.
Yeah. So he was doing the shows down in Tribeca, which was down in the school I was attending at the time. That was DC. And we would just see Dorian as like just here. And little did I know I was going to be, good friends with Dorian. But it was one of those things you see him. You don't say much because you don't want to say the wrong things. I don't know. He's going to chew my head up. I don't know. But after you know Dorian, you know that he's cool enough that you can actually talk to him, say anything to him, But you never wanted to assume. So you got the autograph, you got off the line, and that's it. And you survived it.
So was you training at Steve's gym at the time when Dorian used to come? And
yeah, Steve will bring him down. He will stay up by Bev's or in the city. He will train at Bev's, and then he will guest pose at the at the shows that were held down in BMCC.
And did you ever see him guest pose?
Oh, did I? It was just one of those things that it's impossible. This is what I'm going to do, or what I continue doing, you know. So we would be amateurs. We would compete. When we saw the guest posers, it's kind of humble you, and you went back Monday morning and you did your regular job because you knew there's no way I'm gonna be a pro. You know, this is
I don't think people can appreciate how actually big and hard off-season Dorian. Because I was seeing him guest pose, say about the same sort of time in UK, and you just look at yourself in the mirror, you think like you're right at the beginning again. It's just like a level which it's hard to sort of aspire to. And how human can be so big and thick. It's just I don't think I've seen anything even today to that standard.
No. Dorian changed the name of the game and condition. His condition was just surpassed by so many, and that's why so many guys, that's the look they achieve now. They have to have that grainy look, otherwise they feel they're not as competitive.
So seeing Dorian guest pose and stuff, did it sort of inspire you, or did it sort of put you off? Did you think, fuck yeah, what am I doing this for?
No, it just puts you in your place. Like, this is, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get there. There was none of that. You saw what you saw, and you're like, okay, this is what I can do. So we were looking at a massive bodybuilder, and even though the class did not exist back then, you're like, I'm more like the classic fit bodybuilding look, you know. It's like slim look, you know. So we never really compared to Dorian, and then later on came, you know, you couldn't even compare to Ronnie. So you just knew you bodybuild, but you weren't in that class of bodybuilding.
Because you turned pro as a heavyweight, didn't you, Victor?
Excuse me?
But did you turn pro as a heavyweight?
I would say that I was super. Was that super? Yeah, that would make me super, because super. I was light heavyweight. Heavyweight. Yes, heavyweight. Heavy, because I was 222. I was about 3 pounds away from super. Yeah, I turned pro 222. I remember I had done a show prior, and I competed also at 222. So that was my ideal weight to go in as peeled as I could.
So let's go back to the Arnold Classic this year. Was you what did you think of the results? Did you think they were fair? Do you think anything sort of flipped around?
It was good. It was good only because we got caught in the loop. I know people saw the Olympia. We saw Nick. Nick got third place at the Olympia. Going into the Arnold, there was all talks about Nick, the favorite, and most people would agree, you know. But what we also didn't know was that Samson had time to actually change the look that he had in the Olympia. You know, he kept the momentum going. I said that time and time again, and that was good for Samson. Now, when you're already, you know, when you're Nick and you're already peeled, you're going into, you know, with the momentum of third place at the Olympia, going into the Arnold. Now, you didn't expect him to kind of lose because you would think he'll bring the same look from the Olympia. Now, here we are at the Arnold, looking at the prejudging. Nick was peeled. Samson, again, looked good as far as his aesthetic, best aesthetic up there after Andrew Jack. And no way do you think he could catch up until you saw him hit pose for pose where Samson was just good enough. But what helped Samson, I think, was that extra 24 hours going into the next day.
Because he started to fade after prejudging, didn't he? He started
because that prejudging, I think Nick nailed it. But you start hitting some poses, Samson's just looking better and better. And then come Saturday night, Samson just hit it. And then you can start seeing where Nick, you know, kind of almost lost some weight. You know, and I think he was just trying to get drier. And when it comes to somebody with Nick's physique, I don't know if you guys can agree on this, when you see somebody like Nick, he has to, if not always, come in big, because if he starts to kind of bring on that look, to streamline, to show his shape more, his shape is not dominant when it comes to seeing somebody like Andrew Jack or Samson. Yeah, he's the kind of physique that has to come in big and freaky. I mean, that's my opinion. You know, it's almost like saying, hey, you know, we want somebody like Jay Cutler, you know, losing 10, 20 pounds. It just wouldn't look right in his frame. Certain frames are just meant to be big, freaky, peeled and shredded, and not, you know, streamlined like Andrew and Samson. So that being said, I mean, when Saturday came around, you can see Samson was dominating when they started comparing them again. And Nick was just kind of came down, and you could see his long torso and everything else. And it was just.
So you'd probably say Nick should sort of stay in his lane and come in big and hard like he did at the Olympia.
Come in big, that's it. Just come in, and maybe he would have nailed it, maybe not. But you know what? The judges changed up. And it's just setting precedents for the next Mr. Olympia. I think it's going to be
definitely. Yeah, that's what consensus says. Yeah. What about Andrew Jack? What did you think to Andrew?
Andrew's good, man. Andrew just has to fill out that frame. If he fills out that frame, I think Andrew is definitely going to be a force out there. He's definitely going to get more competitive. He has good muscle bellies. He has a little bit more details. If you could just bring up his back, it would be great. And his legs a little bit more. Again, Samson just had him a little bit more on the size factor.
It's hard to believe that Andrew's only been competing like 1 year, isn't it? Properly.
Yeah, that's just some freaky genetics, man. I mean, that's just so unfair, man. To a lot of guys that would say they have 10, 15 years, and you have him with those crazy genetics. So there's pros and cons to that. You know, he's there now, but I think he's definitely gonna, you know, catch up and really get up to par with what they want to see.
Because I spent a lot of time with Andrew in Dubai last year, and he came over to the UK. So I got to know Andrew on a personal level, and we became good friends. So I was sort of secretly rooting for Andrew to win. But so I was really happy that he sort of brought the condition, which he was sort of criticised for. So I think third place was justifiable. He did deserve third place. And I think the top three was sort of correct. Top three, top four. Yeah. So I think anyone could have argued it.
No, not at all. I mean, and then, you know, Rami, they threw him back up there, you know, fourth. Yeah. And,
I felt a bit bad for Rami when they first put him in he was first one in the middle, wasn't he? Then they put Samson and they put Rami right in the end. So they didn't give him a proper comparison.
It would have been nice to see him get more comparisons, just in general. You know, honor him as a former Mr. Olympia, and you know, greatest on the planet. Just give him the call outs. Yeah, even if he's not winning them, you know, because all the pictures are obviously I wasn't there this time, but everything I've seen, you know, he looked sharp, he looked good. He's just obviously missing a few things that he used to have, which is a shame. But you know, we'll see what the future holds for him.
I mean, Rami's got muscle for days. I mean, can he come down and really bring that look that the judges want to see? Are they going to give him that chance? I mean, we don't know. But right now, I'm sure he's questioning himself. Am I good enough to redeem myself? Are they going to give me that chance to redeem myself? I mean, he's big. So what does he need? More just...
More legs.
Kind of confusing. I don't know. I don't know what Rami needs. I mean, the only people that can answer that are the people actually judging him.
Yeah. Do you think that they're just going for a different direction now, and they're just going for like that more streamlined aesthetic look?
They may be going for Derek Lunsford direction. I mean, will Hadi Choopan, will he be able to repeat it? Let's see. I mean, Derek missed this Arnold for a good reason, and I think he definitely has the chance to get that sound down.
Yeah, I saw Derek. I spoke to him at the expo, and he does look very good. I mean, I know he's off season now, but he's still in very good shape for off season. Yeah. He's still
it's funny because I first met Derek in 2018 at Body Power in the UK. He was signed with Animal at the time. No one had a goddamn clue who he was. He was tiny, just looked like a normal person in a normal t-shirt. To see the progress he's made in 4 years is fucking mind-blowing. It's crazy. He's as big, it's as wide as he is tall now. Before
he is training, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Evogen supplements.
Yes.
I know. Supplements work, man. They work.
So what do you think going into this? It makes this year's Olympia a lot more interesting, doesn't it? It sort of switches things around.
A new generation, the Olympia.
I was going to say, do you think that we'll see a trend throughout the rest of the shows this year going for a more aesthetic look? Because, different judges like different things. How's this going to affect the season? Because, you're going to have some people going to be competing a lot more this year. People that took last year off, coming back and whatnot. And now we know that the Masters Olympia is going to be a qualifier for the Open Olympia at the end of the year. Yeah. So it adds a bit of spice to the season.
You can. I mean, the Masters wins the Masters. I mean, it'll be cute and all. He could win the qualification, but will he make the top 10? That's to be said.
Especially if there's fucking 26 people there again.
Yeah, I mean, they have 26, 30 people. I mean, half of those will not make the cut.
No,
and it's just a lot of Olympians. I mean, I think they should do it based on just first and I mean, 36 guys or 26. I mean, it's
something like that.
Yeah,
half of them did belong to be up there.
Half the lineup don't actually get a place in.
Half the lineup don't get placing. I mean, they got
a great for business, right? But shit for the athlete.
Who's throwing the names in for the Masters Olympia? Do you know anyone, Victor?
Phil Klahar's doing it.
Who?
Phil Klahar.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing it. So he got top 3 in a couple shows. I think
Johnny Jackson's doing it.
Johnny's doing it. Kamal says he's going to do it.
Johnny who?
Jackson.
Johnny Jackson?
Johnny Walker.
Yeah. I compete with Johnny Walker. Hey, I saw Johnny Jackson at the gas booth. He didn't say anything, man.
Yeah, I spoke to him there because we're both sponsored by Gas. So I know him. He's trying to get Hide to do it as well, and but Hide's not having. But he said he's going to travel to Vegas to train with Hide.
2 guys that I know. Who else? I don't know. I think Vinny Galanti might want to do it.
Yeah, but is he 60 yet?
60? Oof. He's a supermaster Olympia.
It's Samir going to do it again.
Samir, oh man. Kevin LeBron, is he going to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the prize money again? I think most of the time I was on podcasts talking about the issue. I was just mostly discussing the prize money because what's first place, like 20 grand and a gym membership. I don't know if it was.
Like you said, it's not worth it losing your kidney over, is it? Like you said.
I mean, again, if a guy can get ready on creatine, glutamine, by all means, do it. But it's not a main event show the way they're hosting it. I think they're hosting it piggybacking off a main event, which is going to be the, I think, what is that? I think they have a local show, a pro show, right? Romanian Pro, right?
Romanian Muscle Pro, yeah. I think it's the Wings of Strength show, isn't it? I think.
Yes, and also Wings of Strength, which will have women's bodybuilding and physique probably. Yeah. So, by all means, good luck to the promoter and all the pros competing in it, So I would have liked to compete in it, but it's just not enough incentives. Other than going to Romania, I guess. That'll be a nice trip.
Yeah, I've been to Romania. I've done a few shows there, actually, Bucharest.
Probably pay for the top guys, put them up in a hostel somewhere. They'll make a good horror movie, Hey, man, I got grilled chicken for you. You guys want to go to an exclusive gym and then turn it into some bodybuilding horror movie. I don't know.
Yeah, some fucking handheld camera movie. The found footage horror movie. Yeah, it'd be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I'll watch it. Yeah, a nice, Romanian bodybuilding horror movie. That'd be great. But again, I think it's great. But if they really wanted a good, Masters lineup, I think they needed to polish up how much they're offering.
Yeah.
On the prize money, because again, guys can do it. Most guys will be in shape. Most guys have the experience. of dieting, so they won't have to kill themselves to show up to the show and show up in decent shape, but it'll, I have a feeling, I mean, with social media, I think it's going to give it a little bit more light in the show, but I don't know. I hope it's remembered, unless the Romanian pro has a better lineup. One of them, like, it will overshadow the other.
I presume there's going to be quite a few European, like lesser known pros doing it as well, just because it's getting out there, good for their branding, I guess. Again, it's just an unusual location for the show. As I say, the last one was in the States. It just seems like it's sort of a afterthought compared to a elite thing that it should be, like the way it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, if I go, I don't know. Hopefully, some guys can go give Andrew Tate a shout out.
He's still locked up, isn't he?
Oh no,
So Vic, you're be turning the big 5-0 in this summer.
Yep, it's coming near, man.
How do you feel about turning 50?
You're going to let him in the club side?
It hasn't been clubs in a while. And
when I seen you out, you still look big. You still look in good condition. I mean, what do you weigh now?
Well, if I go to the club now, they're gonna think I'm the bouncer there.
Now you look good for 49. So did your trade?
Maintaining. We gotta fight the clock. Fight the clock. That's it. Fight the aging. But I don't know. I mean, 50. I didn't never think I was gonna make it to 50. I'm still haven't made it actually. So let's.
All right. Yeah. Don't jinx it. Yeah.
That's a celebration in of itself.
I know, yeah. So how's your training like changed? It's different now from now.
Because obviously you had quite a long career, right? Did it change much over the years, or?
Well, I have to evolve with the training. I mean, these weights that we were trying to push before, it's like no way I'm touching that now. But just getting through a workout, not having any aches and pains, it's always something you always want to reach, and also avoiding injuries, Now you get these old people injuries where you just trip and you pull a nerve or something.
Have you had any serious injuries in your career, Quick?
I mean, a lot, man. What I had a broken arm, torn patella, a pulled quad muscle. I mean, you name it. I had them. Most of them were done not even working out.
Every bodybuilding injury I've heard of,
Yes. Most of them don't happen in the gym.
Yourself. Yeah, it never happens in the gym. It's something ridiculous.
Reaching for soap, you tear, pull a lat muscle. But I do a lot of functional workouts, the routines. I mean, I squat. I love to squat. I don't squat as often because, again, you have to just, but the feel of the bar squat, you can't replicate that.
The free bar squat. Or bar. I still enjoy squatting.
Yeah, you got to throw them in because it kind of brings you back to the okay, you know what? I still got this. I still got, But you have to squat. I mean, unfortunately, not everybody can. But we try to maneuver the gym floor enough where we could actually keep that, those workouts going and keeping you strong and healthy. But moving those big plates, those 4 plates on the incline, squatting 4 plates for 20 reps, but I don't do 1 rep max. I do enough to stimulate the muscle. I follow the Lee Haney rules. Let's stimulate the muscle,
Yeah.
Let's not break yourself, Well,
you've got to train for longevity, don't you? You want to be training like 20 years time plus.
Yes. And it's cool. You could watch those guys training heavy. You could look at them and then just, just enjoy it. Watch it, but it's crazy how you still see guys deadlifting and for some reason you have the YouTube, you have social media, you have all these freaking social media handles, and they still manage to deadlift with a rounded off back. I'm like, wow.
I was going to ask you, did you ever use to deadlift for your back? Would you say it's a
No,
good?
no, I love deadlifting,
Yeah.
you know, but I deadlifted the way I saw it when I saw, you know, a lot of powerlifters do it, you know, which is basically guys, you know, what is a deadlift? You know, how do you perform it? It's basically, you know, it's a squat where your arms down. That's it. Same form, you know, scrape your knees. If you're not scraping your knees, you know, your form is not there. You know, I mean, nobody's doing the Larry Wheels type of deadlift if you want to live, you know, to see another workout, you know.
Well, Larry's going to bodybuilding now, isn't he? He's going to classic bodybuilding.
He did a show a couple of years ago, local show in California. I think he won. And then obviously, he did win.
He won.
This is what gets me. I trained with Larry Wheels in Dubai last year, and he said he was going to go on TRT because he'd been blasting for 10 years straight, and now obviously he's on TRT. But to compete in bodybuilding, he's still going to have to take a considerable lot more than TRT dose. So is he going to be taking TRT, or is he going to be taking bodybuilding cycles?
He might compete in a natural federation side.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard, but yeah, a lot of people on TRT, you know. So they, you know, my friends are on TRT. They're on it every other day, you know. That's the routine they like to follow.
Performance TRT, yeah.
Yeah. EOD, TRT, and
EOD,
TRT, yeah. It is TRT, so it doesn't matter. It's a little loophole of
150 milligram every other day.
Not juicing. I'm on TRT.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do you use any TRT, Vic?
Yes.
Every other day.
Every other day.
I mean, compared to the TRT dose, which is 100 milligrams, I mean, I probably take, you know, probably double that once a week. And that's good enough, again, to do enough where you're not, you know, bringing your levels too low. Because the worst thing is crashing. Once you're on synthetic.
That crash is horrible.
Yeah. Once you're on synthetic and you're on it, I mean, I know people want to get off it, but go ahead, do it. You know, I'd like to see you try it. If you have a girlfriend, a woman, or a partner, or whatever, go ahead, you know, and see how you feel.
Especially when you get to sort of 40s, 50s, I think having no testosterone is downhill.
It's detrimental to your health in other ways as well. Obviously, if your hormones are all off balance, you know, low testosterone is one of the main causes of cancer, you know, high blood pressure, all these things that people, depression, anxiety. People don't know these things, right? Because they're just told by the doctor, oh, just take this pill, it'll take this away. But, you know, if you dive into your bloods, you know, you're going to notice shit's seriously out of whack. So
listen, you get the blood work, you see your levels are off, go by that. I mean, if you want to second guess just by the way you feel, if you have the experience, you know what you're going to do. You know what you need to do. Yep. But at the end of the day, nothing beats knowing by having your blood work and knowing what your levels are, because that would ultimately let you know what you're deficient on. And you just gotta, you know, as long as you have your head right, because that starts messing with your head. You don't want to start losing
back in the
head.
day, Vic. So back in the day, I mean, when you sort of finished competed, would you have a total break of all the supplements?
Oh, it was a simple rule. It was basically 3 months on, you compete. Show's over. You did your, you know, post cycle for a couple of weeks, and you had time off. And you train as hard as you could without it, because it was one of those things that we don't want to just train pre-contest, because now you have to set yourself up, you know, to go on that pre-contest prep. So we always did 3 months on, 3 months off. So basically 2 cycles a year.
So what do you think about these guys that are now, I see guys in my gyms, young guys that are in their early 20s taking 300 milligram test, 300 milligram primobolan as a cruise, GH insulin as a bridge between a proper cycle. And these are like guys that never competed before.
No, they're doing it all wrong. They're taking everything. They're not cycling it right. They're not having the time off. They're not clearing up their receptors. They don't have anything structured, you know. And the thing is, they want to bodybuild and still have one foot out in everyday life. And that's almost, you know, you can't have both. You're either going to bodybuild or you're not. I mean, obviously, life continues. Most people have everyday jobs, but you have to structure it right. And most people, I believe, don't have that structure. You know, when you have that structure, when I'm going to go off, when I'm going to stay on, well, you know, I'm going to train at 100% all year round. That is not possible. You need to rest. You need the time off. You need to have everything calculated meticulously and know when you can go on and when to go off.
Speaking of structure, Victor, what did a contest prep look like for you back in the day?
For me, it was simple. It was take a test, a cutting agent, and then a water pill. It was, and then obviously, as you got more competitive, you learn more stuff. You knew what to add on. You know, when I first started, the trend wasn't as much around. I think there was Finajet.
It's Trembolone, isn't it? Injectable.
Yeah,
it was made from cattle.
Yeah, and you used it for about 4 weeks out, and you got the results was almost threefold compared to the stuff that's now. And again, I believe the quality is different now. I don't believe it's.
It was made from cattle for cattle pellets, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Trembolone. That's yeah.
Yeah, it was something crazy, you know. And then we had the parabolins, and for some reason, the amount that you had to use back then wasn't anywhere compared to what people use now.
If I remember right, parabolin came in 1.5 milliamps, 76 milligram.
Yeah,
you only need 2 of them a week. I remember Dorian told me when he was prepping, he'd do 226 milligram a week of parabolin, we used to call it. So that's what's that, 3 ampules a week, which is not a lot really compared to nowadays when people are taking 500 milligram of Trembolone a week.
And the rest.
Yeah, and the rest. But it was real stuff, so you can't compare.
Yeah. What about from a nutritional point of view, Vic? So you say you're 12, 6, and then a week out from the show. Were you a high carb eater as long as you're in a deficit, or were you someone who really had to push food low to get into that kind of condition?
Listen, my diet was simple. It was basically chicken and broccoli, and sometimes rice. That was my diet. I followed it.
Though, didn't it? I bet it worked.
No, it worked. And I know when I did legs, I had steak.
Yeah.
When I did back, so steak was for back and leg days. That's it, which is about twice a week. And then the rice, obviously, before bed, never took in any carbs. It was something that was simplified for my standards because we didn't calculate exact macros. We didn't calculate how much carbs or anything. I mean, I will watch VHS tapes of Dorian eating, Ronnie Coleman, Flex Wheeler, and I said, man, you know what? These guys are not getting so fancy on, finding out the right condiments just to put the food down. Salt. That's it, salt.
That's what you need.
Take it out when you couldn't drop the water. Leave it in if you're not holding water. And we did it so simple. We didn't have so many diet gurus around. And
these are the things people forget, though, right? They're coming from yourself, someone who's been at the pinnacle of the sport, talking about your younger days when you were coming up, rising through the ranks, suffering, having barely any food, just eating meat and vegetables 5, 6, maybe 7 times a day, and now people are fucking drinking cereal, whey protein 3 times a day. 80% of the nutrition has got to be from artificial sweeteners, or it's got to be some fucking bullshit or whatever. Yeah, it's something that I've noticed a lot more now, and having the privilege to talk to yourself among other people who've been there, done that, worn the t-shirt. You've gone through the hard stuff because it was necessary to reach where you wanted to go, right? Yeah. So to have that echoed again by someone like yourself, it's what's missing nowadays. It's a reminder. Nothing comes fucking easy, right?
No, nothing. I mean, nothing is better than real food. And again, you know, I started working out with the likes of Kai Green and all that. So when I would see Kai go to the gym with his trophies, when he was competing with in the WNBF, I'm like, man, what protein do you use? For one, I couldn't afford the protein, so it wasn't like I was going to go out and buy it. You know, he's like, protein. He was walking around with a bucket of chicken. You know,
not KFC.
Was like protein. I'm like, no, you know, those powders, they have a GNC, and no, protein is here. It's right here. It's chicken. I don't need anything else. So for me, it was good news to see Kai doing that. My friend Ivory White, these guys were competing natural at the time, and they were dominating the show scene. So I said, well, I'm not going to change that, you know. And plus, I didn't like protein. Especially when Weider cut out their, they used to make protein back in the days.
I remember, yeah.
And it had like 20 grams of sugar. It was so good.
It's just drinking Nesquik.
Yeah, it was like drinking quick, exactly. So I knew early on, oh, you can't have the sugar. So every other protein just tasted nasty. And again, without, you know, naming any brands, there was some brands that the proteins just made me go to the bathroom right after. So I stopped using proteins, and I didn't reintroduce protein again until later on. You're talking about 2003, when I started working with Chris Aceto, and he's like, okay, so after the workout, 3 scoops of protein. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't use protein. You know,
did Chris prep you for the Night of the Champions that year you won?
Yeah. He started coming. I said, well, you don't do protein? I said, no, I mean, I eat it. I eat chicken. I eat fish. He goes, well, what protein do you like? I said, I don't know. I don't like. And he started naming a few brands, and I just couldn't really. I said, no, I can't do that one. I can't do that one. So then he just basically said, how about a meal replacement? And that's when we added Labrada. You know,
okay.
To give a shout out to Labrada, credit where credit's due, but his, you know, meal was pretty good. It was pretty good, and at that time, the dominant companies at the time was Metrex.
Metrex, yes.
Yeah.
EAS as well. EAS, I remember that.
Yeah.
Myoplex.
Yeah, except Myoplex started tasting like Robitussin. Pepto-Bismol or something. I don't know. What the fuck is this? You know. But they made millions. They did good. But I like the Lita Brada, and I was actually able to ingest 1 envelope a day from the meal replacement. But yeah, and I think Isopure came out with a clear. Remember that?
Clear weight, yes. I remember Isopure. Yeah, nature's best.
Yeah, I mean, I would drink the Isopure, and I would go to the bathroom, and definitely I went pure, you know.
came out crystal clear as well. Yeah.
So your diet was very simple, basic, nothing fancy. Yeah.
It was nothing fancy. And when I saw Ronnie talk about it, he didn't like vegetables either, I was like, perfect, you know, because the only vegetable I liked was broccoli. So, you know, so I would listen in to what other guys did, what Dexter did, and I would just take off whatever benefited me and add it to my regimen, and just trained. I did a high volume. I try to do the heavy duty, like, you know, mentor Dorian Yates, and I don't think my body type was meant to handle that. So I said, you know what?
I think look at your physique. You can tell you're a high volume guy because of the round muscle bellies. People like Phil Heath, you've got the same sort of, because Dorian he's got that hard look, but he doesn't have that full round pop. And I think that's lack of volume and more just one set. I think it does affect the physique, don't you think?
Yeah, but that's how he was able to morph, you know. You know how it is. You see the guys that you admire, you see the guys that you like, and you see their belief in training programs and how they do it, and you try to emulate that, but then you stop short on your tracks and be like, okay, it's not for me. You know, so
whatever plan, I think, whatever approach you've got, right, is the consistency to it is the main thing anyway.
Yes,
you know,
And guys have to believe, just try what you can do, see if it works and you feel good, just stick to it. But they start second guessing themselves when you start looking over to the side or back of you and see these guys or in front of you. And you're like, man, I want to do what they're doing. It's like, listen, it could work for them, but it's a hard learn when you know it's not for you. And that's, I remember when guys would try to, when they would ask us, how do you think you're going to place? And we'll just start talking about second, third, and fourth because Ronnie was ahead of you and you weren't going to name yourself first, but we weren't doing what he was doing, and you have to wake yourself up.
Well, looking at Ronnie nowadays, what do you think? I mean, it's quite sad what looking at him sort of being wheelchaired around, isn't it? What he's sort of done to his body.
You know what? He took it above and beyond. He achieved what he set out to achieve. I mean, and it's something what legends are made of. You ask Ronnie, and I will always hear people ask him the question, will you do it again? And he will always answer yes 100 times. It's one of those things that he's going to be in the history books forever. And yes, Lee Haney got 8 Olympias. Ronnie got 8 Olympias. They were both done differently. I believe when Lee Haney stopped, Ronnie still went and got 6 more done. Actually, no, when Lee Haney stopped, that's when Ronnie actually started getting them, which is kind of crazy, Well,
Lee Haney stopped 91, didn't he? And Dorian
like 30.
Yeah, 31.
30s.
31. 31, yeah. Mr. Olympia at 23, retires at 31.
That's crazy to think, isn't it?
Yeah, insane. And you see that, and again, it's just the mindset that these guys had. It's something you have to just respect. But and look, I mean, Phil Heath's got 7. So what Ronnie did, again, the way he did it, it's just like in his videos, it's just unbelievable. And anybody tries to emulate that, they're gonna get hurt.
Have you ever trained with Ronnie, Vic?
No, I didn't have the privilege. Ronnie was super busy. When you're Olympia, as much as he was, to really catch Ronnie was hard. Ronnie. I mean, even now with his injuries, try to catch up with him. Ronnie is a hard worker. He's a hard worker, and
he's all over the planet every time. Every time you see him somewhere else, I'm representing the sport even now, which is awesome to see, especially with his issues.
Yeah, you see guys with not even anything near what Ronnie is, and they don't move around as much.
It's not like Ronnie even needs to do it anymore. I presume, he's got some sort of stability. Yeah, he doesn't need to do it. He still loves. It's for the love of the game, right?
So Vic, do you still train at Powerhouse Steve's gym?
Yeah, I was there about 3 weeks ago. I try to go in as often, more often than I could, but I have to stay around for these little girls here. The other day, my daughter just asked me if I could start training her, which was like music to my ears because, you want your daughters to kind of work out or do something so you could kind of have that, that relationship.
Connection, yeah.
Yeah, connection. And
how old's your daughter?
She's 15.
Okay, so that's a good age to start training.
Yeah, good age to start training. I mean, she's in pretty good shape already.
She got social media yet? She got Instagram and stuff like that yet?
She does, but I'm happy that she's not crazy about it.
Okay, so she's not following any like certain influencers and
no, she watches it
to compete.
She's following Simon Fan.
Oh Lord! I mean, my goal in life is keep your daughter off the pole and OnlyFans.
Yeah.
No disrespect to any girls or women that are doing it now. That's your choice. Whatever. Cool. I'm not paying for it. But
some girls are killing it. They're killing it.
Yeah, they're killing it. My friends are enjoying it for free on Reddit. They're scalping it. But as a father, it's just one of those things. Man, let me not fail. Let me have my daughter get something that, you know,
people
look at her.
Yeah,
people look at her with respect, you know. And again, you know, people can do whatever they want in this life, and you know, you only have one name, and you want to have men and other, you know, women to look, you know, and have the respect for her, and just not treat her as just, you know, lunch meat, you know, to just look at and get, you know, guilty pleasures out of. I mean, come on. You know, what else is there for a woman, you know? After a while, you know, being able to take care of themselves and not rely on another man. And if a man takes care of her, that's just a plus. You know, but not as the main source of her being able to take care of herself.
Yeah, I want to talk about Steve's gym, because it's one of my bucket list to train somewhere I want to sort of go and visit. You've been training there obviously many years.
Yeah, great gym. He keeps adding more equipment, and what I love about it, obviously, I think Steve's gym used to pull out more pros than any gym in the tri-state area. And the first time I actually went there was before the Nationals, and you can tell why. I mean,
what year was this?
Oh man, you're talking about 2000, back in 2000 or 99. Yeah, but when you go to Steve's gym, his 25s are not like 25s anywhere else. His 45s are not like 45s. I mean, people can argue that with me, but they'll say, no, 25s are 25s. But pick up one of your rubber 25s at your gym and pick up one of his, you know, metal 25s, you know. And if you could do 3 plates at your gym, by all means, I oblige you. Try 3 plates in his gym, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Yes. And the equipment, the variety of equipment. I love equipment. Yeah,
I've seen he's been posting a lot of new stuff he's been adding to the gym, a lot of Atlantis stuff and hoist and stuff like that, isn't he?
Yeah, those are cute, but my favorites are the old stuff, man.
Tell me what your favorites are.
Oh man, he's got the EFS. Cool. He's got the EFS. He's got the Nautilus, the ones with the chains.
With the chains, yes.
Yeah, the old school ones where you really feel the rattling and the moving of the weights. So the nostalgia of not just the Wall of Fame that he has, but also everybody who's there, regardless of what age, they're all training hard. You know, and people try to say, oh, well, what do you think, the Mecca of bodybuilding in California goes or the Mecca in the East Coast Steves? And I said, well, different spectrums, this and different side. If you go to the Mecca in California, you know, you get to have a good workout. You get to see some.
Yeah, I was there a few days before the Arnold.
Yeah, old school feels, but you're also gonna see a little clowning around and people just kind of doing their shit and doing some crazy stuff. Where in Steve's gym, I think if you do that, I think you get kicked out, man, because everybody, aside from the conversations of catching up or anything of the sorts, everybody is training hard. Everybody's just focused, man, and it's impossible to have a bad, you know, workout. And also the leg room. The leg room is the size of most gyms here on the East Coast. It's insane.
I think you can tell the quality of a gym by its leg room, can't you? The range of equipment.
Now, when people have a leg room, you know, don't boast that you have a leg room without having actual crazy, you know, leg equipment. You can't have a leg extension, a squat rack, and a leg press and say you have a leg room. That is not a leg room.
That's a leg cupboard.
That is a section.
Yeah.
Yes. You gotta have some of the spin-off equipment he has, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we boast a good leg room at my gym. We got like 4 leg presses, hack squat, V squat, pendulum squat, hip bell squat, 2 leg extensions, 4 machines, 3 calf machines. Yeah, so we have a 3 squat racks.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. You can't have one, you know, standing calf raise, you know, that the stack is 300. You know, you got to Steve, he has a 1,000 stack.
Like the one that Dorian had at Temple.
Whatever happened to that?
Dorian had. Sorry?
What happened to that piece? So the 1,000 kilo fucking calf raise.
The standing calf raise.
It's there. It's there, man. It's there, and that's official.
Okay.
Now you get the new equipment, the new gyms,
and everything's so smooth, isn't it?
No, they're just smooth, and they're lucky that they get up to a good 350 pounds, 400. But even though you match those 400 to the old school, it's not the same. They're calibrated differently, and I think it has to do with your everyday person that's going to the gym. You want to make them feel a little bit sort of accomplished, that they can put the pin on 100 curling and feel like I did the hundreds today.
It was like the comparison of when you bought the new Flex leg extension. When you compare that to the old leg extension, fucking the Flex is 3 times as heavy.
Yeah,
that's the angle as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. It's so steep. The seat is so steep. It's great. It made me laugh because this just reminded me that on Monday night. So I had to give someone an induction in the gym, and they're like, "Oh, you've got really nice back equipment there. That green one looks interesting." I was like, "Forget about the Prime. There's a look at that in there." They went, "Oh, what's that? It looks like a torture device." It was the Nautilus pullover. So
there you go.
Yeah. If you know,
very few people have that one, man. I think we have a gym here in Jersey side that's strong and shapely. They have the old school nostalgic equipment. Again, very few gyms have that, and I think if you really want to put a good gym together, go back to the old school. You wouldn't, get anybody disappointed with the way those equipment feel. But yes, definitely Steve's Powerhouse, Bev Francis PowerHouse Gym is the place to be when it comes to the East Coast Mecca.
But Vic, you had a gym for a while, didn't you?
A short while. It was short. I believe I did it in 2002. It was on a bet, and my friends. It was on a drunken bet in a club.
Well, you won it on a bet.
You can't do a gym, and I went out and I said, I bet you I could do a gym, and it was just that Monday morning I went down and I went to the building department, looked for buildings, and saw one in my own neighborhood available. And I think I moved a little too fast. Had I taken it a little bit more serious, I would have still had the location. But, there's a few things that just didn't align. One of them just, the partner, the people that you had working for you, and at the same time still competing. If you're still competing and trying to run a business, there's no cutting corners. You have to either be there all the time or have a partner that's as much in love with the business as you are. And that's all I can say,
Yeah, it has its pros and cons competing and having I mean, I've only competed once since I've had my gym, and you can't. It's hard to balance the both, and I wouldn't.
Very hard.
Yeah, especially like when you're prepping, deep in prep, and you really, you don't want to talk to anyone. You
oh my God, wrong business to be in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're kind of like low carb and like, I have a problem, and you're staring at them with that blank stare, like I don't give a shit. It
doesn't mix well.
Yeah, it doesn't mix well at all. But it's definitely something, if you do love the gym business, that you have to just kind of go Switzerland on everything when it comes to owning the gym, because you don't want to just kick people out for no reason whatsoever. Yeah. You have to be very tolerant, very patient, and be quick to fix that equipment. I don't think I had a broken equipment for longer than a week in my gym.
It's always the cables, isn't it? It's always the cables that break. Snap.
No, I was always on it. I didn't want this, broken, kind of sign on it. I didn't like that, And if you left the weights on the floor, usually I made you curl that weight 25 times. So that was it. It's like, who left it? I always try to make it fun.
Yeah.
If you left it there, if it was a squat, I made you squat it 20 times. If it was a dumbbell, barbell, bench it 20 times. And it was just one of those things that they didn't want to do that again. So they'll put the weights back.
Let's talk about the stuff you do with Generation I. I know the last couple of years you've been sort of working a lot more with is it Vlad? Is it from Generation I? I've been watching all the videos. How did that come across?
No, just Vlad. Vlad's always came to me, and Edwin. I was always been a contributor to Generation Iron. I contribute to a lot of things without actually just being asked, because I just like something coming out to be great. You know, one of them was the Generation I movie.
Yeah, the first,
yeah. I'm glad. You know, a lot of people liked it. They still, you know, bring it up in references. And
was that staged? Was that sort of real? I mean,
well, I mean, yes, I try to compete in the Olympia. I wanted to compete in the Olympia, but you know, being in jail for a little while didn't help me, and breaking my arm. So going to see Steve was kind of like, I know what he's going to say, but I still have to go through the motions, because as a pro in the tri-state area, you know, Steve is the judge to see, because one, he may be your friend, but he doesn't give you a friendly advice. You know,
tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. So if you always want to hear yes, you can go to one of your friends and embarrass yourself when it comes to showtime. But that's one of the things I always appreciated with Steve, which is, listen, he's gonna break it down to you whether you like it or not. You know, keep your head up and walk out and just take it, you know, take it like a man. So, but let me just hear it and just shadow myself a little bit more, and you know, just have that on record that you look like shit, you know. Because
did you have actual plans to compete that year? Was it 2000 and was it 11 when you did the Arnold in Madrid? Then you obviously got arrested. Then you spent 4 months incarcerated.
Yeah. That's I mean, I wanted to compete. I wanted
a lot of catch up to do, didn't you? Sort of get back to that level.
Yeah, a lot of catching up, and plus also, you know, it was the catching up, and then after I actually broke my arm, so it was a lot of shit just happening, man. It was like, fuck, I can't, you know, you can sit back and cry and complain, or, you know, become a drug addict and get yourself into a deeper hole and all that stuff. But I can't do that. I have kids, you know, the selfish days. If most people that have no kids, they could actually, you know, they could put themselves through the grinder. I mean, I have put myself through the grinder of life. And man, you just have to keep going, man. You just have to keep going. I mean, I was happy in 2012. Well, no, actually, when I came back was 2013. And I think my friend Alex Vijaneski invited me to Russia. And he was actually a big contributor to me bouncing back. And that helped a lot.
You got second at the New York Pro, didn't you, that year?
Yeah, then I was able to enter the New York Pro. If you see that look, you know, it's almost like I just won the Nationals, you know.
Fresh.
Yeah, because it was like, you know, for a long time, not taking anything, you know, it was just clean myself out. I was able to get life insurance again, so that was good. but I was able to bounce back, but right when you think you're back, you see somebody like Rami step on that stage. And it was just like, oh, man.
Yeah, that's the year Rami, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was his pro debut. Yeah. His pro debut, I got second to him. And again, it wasn't bad. So, but, you know, you beat yourself up because you're like, man, you know, it's been a year and a half of not working out. Then a short time, I came back. I just started working out January of 2013. You know, so coming back, that's when Steve Blackman, you know, a muscular development, said, Vic, listen, don't beat yourself up. Big Rami's just super big, you know. Let's get back on that horse. You know, Toronto is, it was already Monday. I had just finished eating a big pie of pizza.
So did you have plans to do Toronto?
Not at all. Not until Steve called me. And Steve, you know, and I'm just like eating my pizza, smoking a big fat blunt, you know, but I think lucky he called me at that time while I was smoking this blunt, and you know how it is when you smoke up, toke up, and Steve starts talking to you. He's just like, man, you really expect Rami's just big. He's been out here training. You just got out. You just recovered. It's like, listen, I think you have enough to get back on that horse and do Toronto on Saturday.
So it was the week after, was it? It was the week after.
Not even. It was literally, it was Monday. Days. It was only 4 or 5 days out. He goes, you want to do Toronto? And I say, you know what? He goes, if you want to do it, I'll buy your ticket and I'll get you out there. And I say, you know what, Steve? Let's do it. Yeah. So I finished my pie.
Finish your pie, finish your blunt.
Yeah, and I finished it. And all I said was like, oh, man, I'm going to hold super amounts of water. So all I could do is no more carbs from that day forward, which is what I did, you know. So basically all I did was eat protein and salad all the way up until, I believe, Friday. So you have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, training, cardio twice a day. Actually 3 times until I left on Saturday.
Just to get the carbs out of your system and the water.
Yeah, no carbs. So I packed carbs, obviously, for Friday and Saturday. And then, was it as simple as just getting to Toronto and competing? No, it's Victor Martinez. Nothing's that simple, you know. No, I have to get through Canadian customs because I had just gotten out of, you know, a year prior immigration detention in the U.S. So now I have to face the Canadian border and patrol. And
so are you listening to this?
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
So thinking about moving to Canada.
So you know the same thing, huh? Happens to you?
No, I'm thinking it's on the cards. It's potentially on the cards. So
yeah, so I get there and they say, well, we shouldn't let you in and you can't come in. And I'm like, damn. I'm there with my wife and she's like, what's going on? I said, I don't know. And I think the only good thing that happened was they assigned a female border agent to me. So I was like, okay, let me see if I could smooth things out. And then she just asked me a question. It's like, why should I let you in the country? And I was like, oh man, what am I gonna say to this? And I said, well, the question is, why shouldn't you let me? Is what would happen if you won't let me in? Yeah, what would happen if I don't let you in? There's gonna be a lot of Canadian fans, teenage, pissed off because I didn't show up and I'm a no-show and they just want to meet me and I really want to meet them and I really haven't been to Canada in a long time and I would hate to disappoint. She's like looking at me, looking at 3 hours later. This is me trying to get it. 3 hours later, she came back and just gave me a fee. I think I had to pay a fee of like $500 and also give where I'm staying. And she demanded that if I don't leave by this date, that I would never, ever be allowed to Canada again. And, you know, I love Canada. I love my Canadian people. But
have you been back since?
I want to go back. So I left accordingly and I left with a trophy, which was great, and a qualification for the Olympia. And so to this day, it's I think everything's fixed. I had to pay another fee and some lawyers. Yeah, but guys that have been locked up here, they don't know that. They don't know that Canadians follow the U.S. Legal system. If you've been busted here for anything or in trouble, Canada doesn't want you, man. Not like that. You have to clear that up first.
I was just saying, considering the circumstances, 2013, that Toronto look was a great look, considering all the time off and all the stress surrounding the show. Yes. Must be the power of the pizza.
No, it was great. I mean, it was. I think the drive, the hunger that I had to just come back.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to compete with one of my fellow countrymen that passed away a couple of years ago too, Novoa. He was one of the guys, rising stars in my country, and got there, competed with John De La Rosa as well. It was cool, man. And like I said, you know, the Canadian fans are always great fans to see. I know I missed a few other opportunities to go out there because of the same situation in my travels, but it's fixed. So I'm ready to go back to Canada.
What would you say, looking back at your career, Vic, was your favourite sort of look, which showed me sort of prep went the best, and you looked at yourself and you think, okay, this is, you know, how I want to look?
I will have to say definitely my first Night of Champions Pro win. That look, and definitely the 06, 07 Olympia year. That's and again, that was before any injuries or anything of the sorts. And once you get injured, it's just horrible because your body just takes you through a different path, a different feel, stimulation, and those are my favorite looks because
pre-injuries.
Yeah, pre-injuries, muscles were full, everything was connected. There was no nerve injuries, no knee injuries, no nothing. And, you know, we're not super and it's not going to last forever. So train accordingly.
14 years in between your first and last pro victory. Is that right?
Was it? It was 03 and then 07.
I mean, from your first win to the 2017 Muscle Mayhem one.
Oh, yeah. And then 07, and that was another, it was 10 years apart. Yeah. But it was 07 and 11, Arnold. 14 was good. I mean, I got fourth in the Olympia. I felt good for that year, you know.
I actually competed in 2011 Arnold Madrid as an amateur. It was the first one in Madrid, wasn't it? The Arnold. It was a good show, that was.
It was fun. I cooked all my meals. I cooked in my friend's apartment. It was a lot of fun. And it was in Madrid.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't want to come back because I knew it was going to happen. But I was telling people, it's like, listen, I'll see you in like 6 months. And they're like, why? I was like, I might get locked up. They're like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And I said, nobody believed it because I was talking so casually about it.
So Vic, so when you were locked up, you were in contest condition, wasn't you? So you were like dehydrated,
you know, because whatever I ate on Sunday and Monday, man, did it show up that day in lockdown, man.
Let's talk about what you're doing nowadays then. So you got any plans for this year going forward?
Right now, hosting my bodybuilding show, bringing it back after a 3 years hiatus. It's going to be the Legends Championship, which I hold in the Bronx.
Is that NPC show, is it?
Yeah, NPC, National Qualifying Show, and can't wait to bring it back, man. I love seeing, you know, taking care of the athletes, you know, mingling with the fans, you know, try to make it fun.
Mm-hmm. And you got your own supplement brand coming out this year as well? I think
supplement brand. I think the first shipment just landed, I think, yesterday in Algeria, which is great. You know, we need more countries ordering. We need more people ordering. It was a few glitches here and there. I didn't know anything about the supplement company other than just being the face and endorsing it and just kind of, but the logistics, the weight, getting the manufacturer, getting, you know, formulating, all of that was just brand new, and I didn't know it was so crazy, you know.
Because different countries allow different formulas, don't they? I mean, some pre-workouts you can't have in UK, vice versa.
Yeah, certain countries will not accept certain things, and it's just you have to get on top of that, otherwise you can lose a lot of money. You can make a big batch, and it's just you know, you either get stuck with it or you have to sell it locally. It's just a lot, and I'm taking a crash course on it.
Yeah, so what's the company called?
Yeah, Victor Martinez Signature Series.
Okay, so that's available in Algeria. What about America? Is it going to be out in America?
Yes, we just got Europa. See if they give us a deal. I think they agreed to distribute it, but let's get that in writing, guys. Come on.
Yeah, because I'm sure I saw a stand at the Olympia. You had a little booth there, didn't you? The Olympia.
Yeah. I had a booth with nothing in it, man. It was just me. It was just me and my mug. That's it, man.
That's all you need.
I think I held up in the port, California port, so it never made it down to
Vegas,
down to the Las Vegas. You know, again, that's what I'm talking about, glitches that happen. You know,
yeah.
You don't ship things on time. It's kind of like what happened in 2020 Arnold, when guys got all these products and then all of a sudden the Arnold was canceled. It's
last minute, wasn't it? Like last minute.
Yeah.
So it's the big 5-0. You got anything planned? You got a big birthday party planned?
Yeah, let's see, man. I'm working it. I like to plan, man, but shit, man. Lord knows that when I plan, there's always a glitch or a wrench. And I get a little paranoid with planning now, so I like kind of doing things a little bit more cautious and you know, kind of. I want to have it. I want to do it. I want my friends there, my cool friends, obviously. You know, and I want to be able to share the moment.
I think you should definitely plan something, because obviously I turned 50 last year. And I had all my close friends, and I think it's time to celebrate a big milestone in your life, attending the big 5-0. Yeah,
it's big, man. It's big.
Yeah, we'll get Dorian over.
Yeah, it'd be great to have Dorian. You know that already.
Yeah.
We have Dorian, hopefully Jay Cutler. Hopefully, you know, you guys can come too.
Yeah, because Jay turns 50, I think it's a few days after you, doesn't he? August the 3rd. Yes. Yeah. Jay's in good shape. I saw Jay at the Arnold.
Yeah, Jay definitely takes care of himself, man. That's what most guys should definitely try to do, and not try to always live up that 27, 30-year-old bodybuilding look. I mean, guys, you have to evolve, man.
Exactly. Okay, Vic, on that note, I just want to say thank you very much for coming on my podcast. I appreciate your time, and
thank you.
Hopefully we'll get you back on again. If we don't speak to you, have a great 50th birthday.
Yes.
We'll have a drink for you. Enjoy.
Yes. Come on,
nice shot.
Let's get that pint, mega pint.
Yeah, and you'll be at the Olympia, won't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll see you at the Olympia. We'll have a good chat.
All is well. We'll see you guys there, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Take care, Vic. All the best.
Right.
Thanks again. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, so thanks for watching another episode of the Fantom Podcast, and that was one with Victor Martinez, one of my favorite physiques of all time. Victor has got the most aesthetics, beautiful physiques, and really grateful to have him on my podcast. So if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. But for now, we'll see you soon. Take care.